Welcome to Han Talk. I'm Kim and this is Josh, and today we are going to do our review on the Factory of Terror in Canton, Ohio. We went there last night.
Yep.
They open at 7.
Yeah, they open at 7.
We got there about 10 after, which was perfect. There was no line at all to the ticket booth at all. We went right up, got our tickets, and I don't know if they do it every day or not, but you have it on right now.
Oh, yeah, they give you these, what is it? The Haunted Ohio wristbands. I believe do you get a discount when you go to certain places, or?
I think. Well, I know on your ticket stub, if you keep it, there is Marcino's, I think is how you say it, Halloween headquarters. It says it's Ohio's largest selection. It has costumes and all kinds of Halloween stuff. You get 15% off with your ticket stub.
Right.
So, and I think it's about 15 minutes away from the factory.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
It's in like the Belden Village Plaza or something along those lines.
But I don't know if they do it all the time, but the wristband I thought was a pretty cool thing that you got for free.
Right, and I'll post links to both the Factory of Terror and on the Marcinos down in the description section of this video. So if you want to check this out, go right ahead.
Alright, the Factory of Terror, it is obviously in a factory, hence the name. It was a used factory that got shut down.
Yeah.
Well, not shut down, but it's not used anymore as a factory. So they have their haunted house there now. It is the 2-time record holder for the longest haunted house.
Yes, it is.
And it is long.
Yeah, it's quite long.
Yeah.
They used to be at a different spot in Canton, like, I don't know how many years ago now. It used to be an old Hercules engine factory. And when they moved there, wow, did they improve from that. I mean, we've been going to there for years. I had been there at the old one as well. But they have definitely improved since they've been there.
They've improved from last year, even.
Yeah.
I mean, it was good last year, but there was a lot of things different this year, which I was surprised by.
Not a lot of dramatic changes, but still...
A lot of small.
Yeah, a lot of small things that I noticed that matter.
Yeah. They have 4 haunted attractions. The first one is Portal to Insanity, which also has the mirror maze.
Yeah, that's like the main thing of the first one. That's all it used to be. Like when they first started the mirror maze there, it was just a mirror maze. They actually added a lot to it. It's kind of almost like a little appetizer. If you'd walk in, it's not really one specific theme. It's just like a couple rooms, unlike all the other haunted houses. And you walk through. One thing I really liked is it's one of the first areas you walk in. They have hospital type sheets that are coming down. You don't exactly know where you're going, so you have to just push yourself through, and it's really nerve wracking because you never know if there's going to be someone on the other side of it, and sometimes there is.
Yeah.
So.
I just can't get past the mirror maze. It was so amazing.
It was.
You go to a lot of haunted houses, and most of them have corn mazes.
Right.
But how many haunted houses do you go to with a mirror maze? And if you ever go to a mirror maze, you'll understand what I mean. It's so disorienting, and you look at a mirror and you see an actor and you're like, oh, you're right there. No, they're right behind you, and it just scares the crap out of you.
Yeah, and I mean that would be enough, if they just lit it up a little bit with some, just dimly lit it and let you go through. But no, they randomly shut the lights off on you, and we were walking through, and we saw a guy in front of us, and the lights shut off.
It looked like he was a little ways down from us.
It looked like he was a little ways, yeah. And the lights shut off, and then they turn it back on a second later.
Well, they don't just turn it back on. When it turns back on, it's strobing, like really fast, like that panic throw.
Right, and they also have those, the little, I don't even know what the name of them are, the things that shoot off sparks, the little electricity arc things.
Yeah.
They're really loud, and so those are going off in the strobe lights, and of course he's right there,
I think I repeatedly just started smacking you.
Yeah.
And screaming.
That caused a pretty good scream. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was. That mirror maze is definitely, if nothing else, that's definitely worth.
Yeah, and something else before the mirror maze I'm going to make sure is they built like a whole, and this was something I think they started last year. I'm pretty sure they changed it somewhat this year from what I remember, but they created like a whole cathedral scene. You walk up and there's like a church and like a little garden you walk through, and you walk into the church, and then the person at the pew is the one that lets you in to the mirror maze.
Yes. Then after Portal to Insanity is the Industrial Nightmare.
Yeah.
Which it's all very factory themed.
Yeah, I think this is what they're probably considering to be their main attraction.
Because it does have the most factory feel of all of it. There's like a lot of animatronics that are like factory. I don't know what you call
Yeah,
it. Like
that-
the things that press
Yeah,
to build
like
molds
metal
or
presses and
yeah.
stuff. They have a whole furnace room they built. And the awesome thing is that like a lot of this stuff, I believe they like actually have taken factory equipment and just like rigged it in a way to make it do what they want. But there are other things they built seemingly from scratch, I would assume. Like they have a I don't know if you noticed it. It was in that one room with all the pipes that run down. They have like a boiler, and it says FOT with like a little skull cut out, and it glows, and it looks like fire's burning in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things, another thing that we don't see often in haunted houses, they have walls that look like they're closing in on you, or like they slide from side to side.
Right.
And that happened in there. It was like, it looked like metal walls almost.
I think
and they started.
that was the next one actually. I think though.
No, this was industrial too.
Oh, they had one in industrial.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we got through it kind of fast because it was right before the guy that was hiding somewhere that jumped out, and I don't know how he got in front of me.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it was right before we came around the corner to that. The next one is Massacre on Mahoning, which has like the most elaborate scenes of any haunted house.
Yeah, it's like at least it starts out. It's more of like the traditional haunted house theme.
Yeah.
At least it starts off that way. Then it has a couple different themes that you kind of walk through, but all kind of staying in the same.
Yeah, it's just a lot of really detailed scenes
Right.
that they put a lot of work into. The one after that is Judgment Day in 3D,
Yeah.
which I think is like the best 3D haunted house that.
Right. The 3D works impressively well. Like I mean,
Yeah.
there are times where like I weren't sure if things were moving or not. I mean, the 3D really just looks like it's popping off the walls. And then,
Yeah.
like, I encourage you when you go through, just to randomly just kind of like slip your glasses down and just see the difference. See the amazing amount of difference it is.
Yeah.
It's whatever. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it was really good. That is all their haunted houses that they have. So we
Right.
will go into our rating now. For production, we gave them a 9.
Right.
They have, like we just mentioned with the Massacre Mahoning and the 3D, it's very detailed.
Right.
You could tell how much work was put into each one.
There's a ton of work that they put into
Yeah.
it. I mean,
And even in between, there's in between when you come out of Portal, or no, after you come out of Industrial on your way to Massacre, they have this like playground set up.
yeah.
Normally they have like the swings and everything down, so they weren't.
Yeah,
I think we
not
were still really early, so they didn't have as many people, so they didn't have it down yet. But there's a whole playground scene. There's this guy walking around that's probably like 10 feet up in the air on stilts
Yeah,
that has
he's-
like these big hands.
He walks around to like give you hugs and stuff like that.
Just the amount of detail even in between their scenes is more than some haunted houses have in their houses.
Right. And like the outsides. I mean, they do them out so nice. Like as you're waiting in line, I mean, they have a whole haunted house theme, just built on the outside, just as you waited in line to look at. I mean, they just fill everything up. No matter where you look, you're going to be seeing something pretty damn awesome.
Yeah.
This doesn't really go with production, but I'm just going to throw it in there. They also have concessions there, and it's really cool. They'll take your picture, and they'll give you a card. You go online, enter your code, and they'll have all the pictures that you took, and they have little sets you can get your picture
Yeah,
taken.
we did 2 of them. We did one where I was in a coffin,
Right.
and you and the other person were on each side of me, and then there was one with like a little bar set up and a zombie. And
Right.
I think one of the actors kind of photobombed us a little. He had like his hand on my head or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool. You can get on there.
I think it's frightpick.com.
Yeah.
They give you the card, so
Yeah, then you can instantly update or upload it to
yeah,
Facebook
or
or
you want.
whatever you use. The only thing for production, the reason they didn't get a full,
Yeah.
there were a lot of scenes that needed more actors.
Yeah, like they have all their actors they have, which we're getting in a minute, are really good, but they just they had like a fair amount, but there were just a lot. There were some spots that were just like it was more just the props that they expected to kind of get you, but there was like, really no actors there. But every time there was an actor, they were hid well. So I mean,
Yeah. I mean, there was so many actors, I think even they could have just spread them out a little bit
yeah, it
more.
seems like there are some rooms with like 3 actors attacking you, then you walk into one like couple rooms after that, and there'd just be like no actors.
Yeah.
So maybe just spread them out a little more. That would be, but that's probably about the only
Yeah, that's the only...
discrepancy that I noticed with production.
The actors, we gave them a 9.5.
Yeah.
the makeup they had was amazing.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
You did a good job.
Yeah.
Good
and
job.
staying in character. I
Yeah.
did not have one issue with an actor saying anything out of character.
They're a little mean. They can insult you.
Yeah, one told me you could make a foot long on my forehead.
Yeah. Or make fun of my hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. There. And the guy that's in the graveyard scene, the one that's really tall, and he's like built. He like will get over you and tower over you and get like right here in your face and just like breathe on you and just say just really creepy, weird things to you.
Mm-hmm.
But just another thing, the graveyard scene. The graveyard scene at this haunted house is so amazing. I mean, they actually put dirt in it.
Mm-hmm.
They have like some of the coolest props. They have like a guy out of
The animatronic digging in the.
Uh-huh.
That's my favorite. That one also. Well, we'll discuss that in animatronics. There's just so much stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot.
In actors, there was one thing you didn't see. It was in the mirror maze that I saw. You were looking in opposite direction, and I had looked. This girl. Oh my God. It was another thing, like I said, with this mirror maze. It's very disorienting. She looked like she was like clear down at the end of this hallway when I saw her. And it was just looking at her made me just feel like, oh.
Right.
Like, she looked like something from a nightmare. The way she was standing at the end of this hallway, doing this weird grabby thing with her hands and kind of shaking back and forth. And then she just was right in my face.
Yeah.
And it scared the crap out of me.
I feel like the actors this year, like, they've always been pretty good, but they were just, like, really good this year.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just a lot of standouts, like, in the very first thing, kind of the pre-haunted house you're talking about, when you pull back the curtain under this bed, there's a woman with her, like, her foot up over her head, and she was all contorted like a demon and kind of crawling out from the bed, and she, like, grabbed her ankles and be all creepy.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one other guy, who was everywhere, this homeless guy pushing
He
up.
was outside when we were buying our tickets.
Right.
He was outside, and he was in every single haunted house. I don't get it.
Yeah, everyone. He has this cart, and he'll just all of a sudden, he'd just be there, and he, like, wouldn't let you pass, and he'd, like, honk this horn with a light, and he had, like, a little, I think it was a toilet in there, and it would shoot water on you once in a while.
I don't get how he was everywhere.
He was
But
everywhere.
we didn't see him in between the haunted houses. We would just see him in the haunted house.
I only saw him in between once. It was after we left the going into Judgment Day 3D. I saw him there.
I just don't get how he managed to be
To
everywhere.
push that cart and all, I assume they're little back catwalks like most haunted house. I don't know how it works behind the scenes there, but I assume.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's cool though. I already did.
And the one I mentioned earlier about how we opened up that curtain and that guy just jumped down, and I have no idea where he came from.
Bungee cords. It's just.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There was one scene where we were walking through, and I saw him off in the corner. I saw a guy like on one of those swinging bungee cords, and I knew he was going to fly at me, and he did. However, where he flew at me, it was just foggy mist. So it scared the crap out of me again because I didn't know where he went.
Right.
I couldn't see him at all.
Face. I mean,
Yeah, he was right there at me. So they definitely did an amazing job as actors.
Good job for actors.
However, one did still ask me if I wanted to stay and play, which I'm still waiting for that one that isn't going to ask me.
You want to stay and play.
Just the one. But other than that, it was just amazing acting.
They were really good.
Yeah.
There's just a couple more of them. That was
Yeah.
like the only thing. Besides that, just great job for the actors. Kudos for you.
Yeah. And then animatronics and props, we gave them a 9.5.
Right.
I don't think I've ever seen so many animatronics.
Right. Besides the Haunted Hoochie. The Haunted Hoochie probably has you beat because, like, you walk into a room and they're just, wow.
Yeah.
But, like, the Haunted Hoochie isn't as big as this place either.
Right.
Like, it's probably about half the size. It's more, like, jam-packed. But, wow, there were so many.
There was huge animatronics.
They were really big things.
There was, like, 3 of those.
They're like giant monsters. They're kind of like puppets. They're controlled by a person, and they will push like these huge monster heads at you, and they'll like open the mouth up. You know, it's really. I love animatronics that are also somewhat controlled by. I guess it really technically is an animatronic. It's more of just a puppet, but
It still works.
some of them like lights up and they make noises. So I mean, it's kind of like a mix between animatronic and just a puppet. But they'll push it out at you, and it's really cool since someone's controlling it because they know just how close they can get to you. Or an animatronic, you know, only goes to a set distance, but this one will come at you and it'll push you against a wall and it'll open its mouth up. It's really cool.
I'm pretty sure every single haunted house inside of here that we went to, there was at least once and I'm like, oh, that's my new favorite animatronic.
Right.
There was one, it had to be like an 8-foot bat
On
that
cemetery?
would open its
Yeah.
wings and close it. It was amazing.
Yeah, it really is awesome.
And I really loved the plants that they have. Like the vines they start twisting around. There's just so many.
And also, I'm not going to ruin it just because when we say these things, you don't know where they're going to be at, so it doesn't ruin it. But at the end of the haunted house is a little tree, and I knew it was coming because I watched a show called Making Monsters. She didn't know, but there's two groups, and the one woman, the final scene, it freaked her out so bad. I don't know her. She ran behind me and grabbed onto me and started screeching, and there's just this older lady on my back. I'm like, okay.
That was amazing. I was not expecting that at all.
Definitely a good addition.
Yeah. Like we said earlier, if only there would have been more actors to enhance the animatronics.
Right.
The only.
Yeah.
I think for the whole thing. Or only complaint.
Yeah, because we had said there was just a bit of overuse of props in some place. Even though they were really good, it seemed like there was a little bit too much reliance on them to create that scare, but really it was just something cool to look at. But it would have been awesome for also, in some scenes, for something to come out from the other way and get you when you didn't expect it. I mean, that happened a lot, but just there was also...
just a few.
I'd say about 70% of the scenes that did happen, but then there's like a 30% where it's just like, okay, that's cool looking, let's go to the next room. But
yeah.
Still, at least it was cool looking.
Yeah, it was still something that,
cool.
if we weren't screaming at the time, we were like, oh my god, that's amazing.
Right, so.
Yeah. So then scare factor, which we want to apologize, we have forgot
to add that for the first two videos we did. It's kind of an important thing, but
we will have them from now on. We're very sorry about that.
Yeah.
We kind of went back and we're like, oh my god, we forgot that.
That's kind of an important thing.
Yeah.
But the overall review still is accurate, the overall score, so.
Yeah. For this scare factor, we gave them a 9.
Yeah.
There were quite a few times where I screamed, and
yeah.
I've mentioned in previous videos, I don't scream a whole lot.
Yeah, I think the mirror maze is what probably got us the most, but it wasn't the only time, though. But it got us the most in the shortest amount of time, just because it's so hard to tell where people are.
Yeah, and the places they hide are just crazy.
Yeah, like, I almost never knew where an actor was going to be. And a lot of haunted houses use this where you, like, look at it and you think, oh, is that a prop or an actor? Well, there are two in here that I really weren't quite sure. The one I really did think was a prop. The other one I was very questioning, but she got the people in front of us. Because the one haunted house kind of got ruined because we got stuck behind people because they kept stopping. I mean, that's not Factory of Terror's fault at all, but they would just keep stopping. So we saw everything that happened first, which kind of ruined the scare factor a little bit for us, but we're not judging that since that's not their fault.
Right.
But
yeah. Again, more actors would have pushed it just over the top.
Right.
Which we keep going back to that because that's really the only thing we can complain about. Yeah, like we said, it wasn't their fault that we got stuck behind those people, but if we wouldn't have, it would have just made it that much better.
I do know, though, on busier nights, that is something that happens. They don't space people out sometimes because they have to get them through, which, that sucks, but if, that's just, I don't know really how you could solve that unless you completely, rethink how you're going to do a haunted house, which obviously it's not logical at all. That's just something that happens when you become this popular.
Yeah.
But at least there's always something awesome to see, and I mean, they still get you a bit, but try to get there early, though, if you really want the good scare and you want that personal up in your face.
Like we said, we got there about 10 minutes after they opened, and it was the perfect time.
If you get there before 8, they're going to get you pretty good.
Yeah. So then our value, we gave them a 10.
Yeah.
It's $26, however, everyone can get on Facebook on their page, and they have a $3 off coupon to make it $23.
And something else this haunted house does, as well as the haunted house that they're kind of like conjunction with Forsaken, they will send out, like I know today being Saturday, they sent out like 10 free tickets. Like they say, answer this question, the first like 10 people to answer a question gets a free ticket, which that's this nice thing to do.
And there's also a text number that I know I had last year, and I got a text from Forsaken yesterday from this number, so I know it still works. And a lot of times they would be like, reply to this message, be the whatever person to reply to this message and get...
I don't know if Factory does it or not. They might.
I think Factory and Forsaken both used to. I don't know if they still are this year.
Alright, but that's something to look into if you want to try to grab some freebies, which who doesn't want to?
Right.
But even if you can't, still definitely worth the 26. Definitely worth the 23.
Yes. We were in there for an hour.
Right.
And this is not...
Yeah, after you subtract, we screwed around a little bit in the playground, and like each line was like a minute at the very most 3 minutes
Yeah.
waiting in line. So I mean, at least 45 minutes of just haunted house.
Yeah.
Just being in the haunted houses,
Yes.
if not more. So
Yeah. So it's definitely a great value.
yeah. You
I would
can't beat
willingly pay $26 for how amazing this
Right.
haunted house was.
that. And the only thing is, it's so good though, is it like goes by faster than you think, because this was like it's over.
I know.
And we just wanted more, but there was already so much. But we're just greedy and we want more.
Yeah. After we got out, I'm like, that felt really short, and I checked the time. I'm like,
It wasn't really short. There
no,
was just,
that was an hour. It just there was so much happening constantly that
Right.
I just
It's kind of like watching a good TV show and how it just flies by.
yeah.
Oh.
So then overall, we gave them a 9.5.
Right.
Considering we had one thing to complain about for
Yeah.
this entire haunted house, it was
Yeah.
it was really great and definitely worth going.
Right, so I would definitely check it out. And also, I want to throw out real quick the soundtrack for the place. It's usually good, but it seemed even better this year. And I think I saw in the post that they switched. I think they have someone else do their soundtrack, make it even better. But like everything just fits so perfectly and is so nerve-wracking sounding.
Yeah. And before you even go in the first one, when you're standing in the line, there's this bassy
Yeah.
heartbeat sound.
Yeah,
The
'cause they
bass
have,
wall.
So Horizon Audio is like a sponsor of theirs, and they're like these big like Horizon bass speakers. Oh, and it's like one of the worst things. It just feels like you're being punched in the chest. It's just this real reverberal, deep bass sound,
And it just gives you this terrified feeling before you even go in.
which is very effective.
Yes.
It makes me like I wasn't actually nervous. I mean, I go to these all the time, but the sound was actually making me like shake and my hair stand on end. It's just amazing how sound can do that to you. But
Yeah, they definitely have a lot of things that you need to just go check it
yeah,
out.
you need to go check it out.
It was definitely worth the time and everything we spent there. It was definitely worth it.
All right. Well, I'm sure we're getting pretty long in this review, but when haunted houses are this good, we want to talk about them, and hopefully you stuck to watch the whole thing because it's really awesome. You need to go check it out for yourself. All right. And as always, I'm Josh, and that is
I'm Kim.
We'll see you next time
Thanks.
when we are reviewing
Cavern of the Dead.
We're actually going there tonight, so that video will be up a little bit after this one. All right.
Thanks.
Thanks. All right. Yeah.